This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, now we bring you a discussion on modernization of police forces. The participants are Neeraj Kumar, former Police Commissioner, Delhi Police, and Raj Chawla, journalist.
The Union Cabinet has given its approval for implementation of umbrella scheme of modernization of police forces. The financial outlay for the scheme over the 3 years period is more than rupees 25,000 crores. And special provision has been made under the scheme for internal security, law and order, women's security, availability of modern weapons, mobility of police forces, logistics support, hiring of helicopters, upgradation of police wireless, national satellite network, CCTNS project, e-prison project, etc. Mr. Neeraj Kumar, what we see in this decision that emphasis is given on the maximum use of technology, like one CCTNS, which is Crime and Criminal Technology Network and System. Another is National Satellite Network. And the third one is e-prison. How this use of advanced technology is going to benefit in better policing?
Mostly it is focused on communication. For instance, e-prison. E-prison is an idea where the entire criminal justice system, which would include the courts, the prosecution, the police, and also the jails, they're all interconnected. So, for instance, if somebody is being released, an inmate is being released from the prison, now it will be known that he is not wanted in any case anywhere else in the country. There have been cases where one prison or one state has released a criminal when the criminal is wanted in another state in a very heinous offense. So these kind of lapses will not take place. And police will come to know that serious criminal is being released and what steps it needs to take, whether he needs to be surveilled, he needs to be tracked. So all that information will reach the police. Similarly, the courts will have background material on the person who is being tried. How many times he has been convicted, how many times he has committed what kind of crimes. All that kind of information would be there. So it is highly desirable communication network that the e-prison system is going to bring in, and it would help in the administration of criminal justice.
So what is this CCTNS, what we say is Crime and Criminal Tracking Network? How this is going to help in prevent crimes and in better policing?
Again, in the police stations, the crime and criminal network system, it is already there in most of the police stations, at least in the national capital and some of the other urban areas. And an effort is being made to connect every police station with the CCTNS. So when you register a case, it is not registered, you don't write by hand. It is, you have to type the FIR, the First Information Report. And all details in the First Information Report immediately is transmitted elsewhere. And if a criminal is being kept in one police station and his interrogation and is wanted elsewhere in another police station in any part of the country, that police station will come to know that person wanted in their case has been arrested in another police station. And this facility is not there at present. Similarly, all police station registers are traditionally maintained by hand in voluminous registers, and it's a very tiresome process to make cross entries. All that is there in the CCTNS at one place and in the form of digital database.
So what I gather is that if there is any history sheet of any criminal in Delhi, the authorized concerned officer in Bombay can easily access that. That is a simple thing that will help. Mr. Neeraj, an outlay of more than 10,000 crore has been earmarked for terrorism and left-wing extremism affected states. How this will be used on the ground and how it will help in curbing terrorism?
There are various ways in which it would be used. For instance, in Naxalite affected areas, what is required by the police very much is the use of helicopters for keeping surveillance over insurgents. Similarly, in terrorism-affected areas, the police sometimes has to raid very places in interior areas which is not accessible. So, for such operations and such work, you require the use of helicopters. You require bulletproof vehicles. You require modernized weapons, the latest weapons that are available, night vision devices, night vision goggles, and so on and so forth. The list is endless. Also for surveillance, for collecting intelligence, a lot of equipment is required. Some of it is already there, but needs to be increased and it needs to be available at short notice with the people who are really on the field.
Centre has focused on 35 worst left-wing extremism affected districts, and the issue there is underdevelopment. How do we understand the relation between modernization of policing and underdevelopment?
It is fairly direct. When an area is underdeveloped, the policing there is far more difficult because there are no roads, accessibility is poor, there is no electricity, schools are not there, medical facilities are not there. So you do not police in a vacuum. You police when all other facilities and all other government services are available. Then only you can police. So by investing in such areas, you are increasing the capability of the police to police these areas. And even the police stations and the facilities there are almost the same as the situation with the people who are living there is highly underdeveloped. Police stays in camps, no electricity, no other facilities. So it's that much more difficult for the police to function. So I hope that these funds, all these facilities will be there and life will become easier for the policemen who are deployed there as well as for them to go out in the field to police.
So there are basically both the areas should be covered, which is the underdevelopment of the local area and the underdevelopment of the police station, police infrastructure also. Mr. Neeraj, there is a provision for hiring of helicopters. You just mentioned that means a kind of aerial surveillance which we have seen in recent years, that drone actually was used for some anti-terrorism activities, so on. Now, is it right to think that a new strategy is being used for crime prevention in terms of aerial surveillance, aerial geographical mapping?
The use of helicopters is very common in different parts of the world. I remember I visited Tokyo way back in 1985, and the use of helicopters then was extensive by the police, and it was mostly for traffic control. Helicopter in the air will immediately come to know where there is traffic congestion, and it directs the control room that there is a problem at so-and-so point, and the control room will then direct people in the field to take remedial measures. Here, if there is a jam, the information does not very easily and immediately reach the control room and thereby the field staff. So, one simple direct use is in the field of traffic management, which can be done with the use of helicopters. The other is to be able to track criminals. A criminal has committed a crime and run away in a car. If you want to chase that car, sometimes it's very difficult for vehicles to reach because they get stuck in traffic jams and so on. But that helicopter, if it's in the air, a police helicopter, it can keep track of that vehicle for any length of time and direct that vehicle to stop, or the criminal who is driving that vehicle to stop. So the usage of helicopter is far too many, and I've already mentioned in the field of left-wing extremism as well as in terrorism affected areas. So if it is used imaginatively, the usage of helicopters can be extremely helpful for effective policing.
Mr. Neeraj, government actually wants to plug critical gaps in the criminal justice system by providing resources for upgradation of police infrastructure, forensic science labs and modern equipment, what is stated in the decision. What is the whole idea behind this? What we get from this?
Our forensic facilities available in India are a highly neglected work of the entire policing system. It is rather in a very primordial state, and it needs to be given substantial boost for forensic facilities to come up to the mark, and so that policing becomes effective. Unfortunately, it is not so. There are many cases where we have to send samples abroad for forensic work, which is quite shameful because we are sending satellites in the sky, we are making such fast progress in digital activities, and so much progress we are making. But in terms of forensic, we are lagging behind. So I'm very glad that this step has been taken and a boost to forensics has been emphasized in the modernization scheme.
Mr. Neeraj, lot of areas are covered in this process of modernization. What do you think that there are certain areas left which need to be addressed?
One thing which comes to my mind immediately is providing of facilities for women police. that does not find a specific mention. Even in urban areas, maybe even in Delhi, not all police stations have facilities for women police. They don't have separate toilets. They don't have separate areas where they can change or where they can rest. So this is one area which must be emphasized, and not only should we have more number of women police, but we should also have facilities for them in every police station, in every police outpost. And also when women are in the field, we should take care of their conveniences, which is not there at the moment. It does not find specific mention in this scheme, but the people who are implementing this scheme, they can easily utilize funds for this purpose.
I think this deficiency, what you have mentioned, we see in both the urban and rural areas, right, that maybe how government will deal with it, that is to be seen. But government has said that it is expected that the umbrella scheme, modernization of police forces, will go a long way to boost the capability and efficiency of central and state police forces by modernizing them. Is it really go a long way?
It should go a long way, provided the people who are implementing the scheme do it honestly and with some amount of imagination and dedication. I have seen oftentimes that funds made for modernization are kind of misdirected, or they are diverted into other activities, or equipment, including things like vehicles which have been bought in the name of modernization, are diverted for other purposes. I remember in one state where I have served, vehicles bought for the police were given to MLAs along with the police drivers, which was very unfortunate. So these kind of activities should not happen, and the only way of enforcing is a proper system of audit, and that audit should be done regularly by the central government, because it is the central government which is giving these funds.
Mr. Neeraj, do you really feel that corruption is another area which need to be addressed? Because what we see in the ground level where funds are being released, we have seen on lot many occasions, those are being misutilized or say underutilized.
Yes, most certainly. The funds should not be misused. They should not be diverted. While the procurement is made, a very close eye should be kept on the entire system of procurement. We must ensure that the funds are used for the purpose they are meant for.
Mr. Neeraj, there is a very different situation in Jammu and Kashmir, and especially in northeastern states. You have been there in northeastern states also. So what else should be done for the modernization of policing in these special terrorism or say left-wing extremism areas?
That will have to be, whatever is done, will have to be done in consultation with the state police forces. They know best what is required. But what happens, unfortunately, is that a lot of other people, I mean bureaucracy and politicians, they are all part of the game. And they sometimes do not allow the funds to be used where it is required. They are used in areas which is a waste or which is misuse of funds. So it is for the police leaders also to play a very proactive and assertive role in ensuring that the grants given by the central government for modernization are used correctly and as usefully as possible. On behalf of the entire police fraternity, that the present government has made available such a huge amount of money for the modernization of police. And I only hope that at the end of the scheme, which is perhaps at the end of 5 years, we see different modernized police force totally in tune with the modern times, in which information systems, use of digital technology and the latest in forensics are in place.
Mr. Neeraj, thank you so much.
You were listening to a discussion on modernization of police forces. The participants were Neeraj Kumar, former Police Commissioner, Delhi Police, and Raj Chawla, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website newsonair.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.